Every one of us dreams. Some of us chase them. For 75 years, we've been driven by dreams. We dreamt in full color. It's when there was a race towards great ideas. We saw ourselves progress for 24 hours. We did a pink fly. And we screamed our back. Victory after victory. Our dreams come to half when we chase and counting. We green, cars red, speed yellow. We've always been for the bold, the bright, and the brave, even the sky. Our universe is one where dream is verb and imitation, a place where artists, racers, and innovators come together. The product of one man's dream. We've been undoing what's always been done. Together, our dream will cover the next 75 years. Open your eyes, take the keys. Join us here. Barcelona, la city of opportunities, talent, entrepreneurship, digital and open to the world. The city fights against the climate emergency through a sustainable, circular and more-ethical economy, capable of generating new innovation hubs for economic activity and to turn tourism into its life. City with new initiatives based on social and solidarity economy and promotes quality employment. This is the Barcelona Creative, the new economic agenda for the Barcelona of 2030. Barcelona never stops. Barcelona City Council.
Variedades, música, concerts, teatre, variedades, sabri, vibra, variedades, vibra, cultura, la vanguardia.
Welcome along, everybody, and welcome here to Barcelona. Delighted that you can join us here on the Friday night of the most amazing of meetings in jumping. It is, of course, the FEI Jumping Nations Cup, the Longines FEI Jumping Nations Cup final. Over the course of these 4 days, yesterday we saw the opening round, tomorrow with the Queen's Cup, and then the big final round on Sunday. It means that tonight we can enjoy some spectacular individual action because it is the City of Barcelona trophy. 2 rounds of jumping over Santiago Bernabéu's course. It is a 2-round competition where we're looking for the top 25%, which is lead of 9 at the minute, to go forward into that second round. You've got to get yourself into the top 9 over that course at 13 obstacles, 16 jumping efforts, 78 seconds of time allowed. It is set at a height, of course, tonight, right up there as well at 1 meter 50, so 1 meter 55, and it's a big track. It's got a big prize fund as well with a total of 97,700, and it brings out the best with the likes, as you can see there, picking a few names out: Martin Fuchs, Julien Epillard, some great names, some wonderful horses. Donatella Dosh in the field tonight, always quick against the clock. Great Britain certainly got off to a flyer. Harry Charles played his part with the clear round yesterday. Tonight he rides Sherlock for Great Britain, Michael van der Vleuten and Duis HH, Simon Deleste and Dexter. But let's not miss out the world number 1, Henrik von Eckermann. Harry's sister, Sienna, also part of the lineup tonight with Stardust. Olivia Robert. There's a great contingent of Spanish riders as well, and Irish in there as well. Max Watchman and Quattini. Gilles Thomas, young rider stars for Ireland and for Belgium. Gilles just last week winning the national championship. And the European champions, Steve Gadat, part of the lineup as well. And there's the end of the line. Jevreeling for the Netherlands and Willem Vermeer for Belgium. At least they'll know exactly what they need to do in terms of performances in the first round to get into the second round. Of course, coming back in reverse order, American carry vaults forward if you've got any to go through. It is 25% only. This tremendous setting, this fabulous arena here at the Real Club de Barcelona is really the home of homes for this sport, and each and every year gives us the most spectacular finals with the Longines FEI Nations Cup final, and we're looking forward to seeing how that plays out over the course of the weekend. There's some great jumping in store tonight. It is sure to be fast and furious, as they say. That I have little doubt about. So very, very excited to see how it all comes together, and pretty difficult when you look at the list to try and pick out a winner. Some wonderful seats up there, and plenty enjoying the hospitality on offer here this evening, as well as being able to enjoy the riders in the arena. Different concept for the riders as well, just having this day in between. Of course, all the Nations Cup horses having a breather, having a rest. This means the second horses, the other parts of their stable and team that they've got with them, are able to come out and show just how good they are. Some riders using some really experienced horses, others perhaps pick out the likes of Martin Fuchs in there. He's riding a 9-year-old tonight, the mare by Baladurue, Bastille. But then you've got plenty in there with the likes of Henrik von Eckermann, Glamour Girl, Donatella Dosh and Julien Epillard, and Michael van der Vleuten and Duis HH, just to again pick out a few of the big star names here tonight that certainly are bringing forward some of their very, very experienced horses. So there's lots of permutations as to the way this could work itself out. 33 of them on the start list to come forward. Great moment to sit back, relax and enjoy some tremendous sport over the next couple of hours with you live here from the city of Barcelona. They certainly are ready. We are ready. Let's get this underway, because it is time to begin this City of Barcelona trophy. 97,700 euros, 1 meter 55, a ranking competition, of course, and this 2 rounds of jumping. Get yourself into the second round is the first priority. To do that, you've got to master this opening track, and it certainly looks a big one. There's enough to think about. There's interesting roll back turns. Keep an eye on that sort of from early in the course, you've got from 6 back to 7, and again later in the course from 10 back to 11. Those particular turns can make a huge difference in terms of where you're trying to just take a second or two away. Of course, you've always got to be a little bit careful as well in terms of the time allowed. Hopefully won't cause them too many bothers. That's set at 78 seconds. But here's the man that's going to get things underway. It is Pier Giorgio, the Italian star, riding Hantano, this 11-year-old gelding Dutch warm blood by Quasimodo Z, the experienced Italian rider. A little bit of an indication as to just what this course is asking of him. He was in good form with this horse in Rome just recently. He's like Cello did very well there in the Grand Prix just a couple of weeks back. Just finding a little bit tight coming to that Longines upright, narrowing down into the line as well. Round they come to the plank. Really got to set them back after the triple bar. And here's that roll, second of those roll back turns I was talking about, back again to the Longines white poles. Finish on the 4, and that is the first out there. Pier Giorgio finishing time 7:4.76. Moving on, Yana Varaga's riding Clash Royale. So Yana, the 11-year-old Oldenburg, gelding by Clarimo, first of the German riders here this evening. Got that first time on the board as well now. So, 4, the score from Pier Giorgio Bucci. Balance down through that double. Also on the 4. Water tray under the lights tonight, just catching the eye a little bit. Looking really well. A lovely flow through that combination. Comes right at the end of the course. That's your final fence. She also finishes on the 4, but she is that little bit quicker to her advantage. Jan Vargas there, and Clash Royale for Germany is that little bit faster. So finishing there in a final time 2 seconds faster than what we saw from Pier Giorgio Bucci. Long way to go yet this evening. Moving on to, though, the first of the Spanish riders. Plenty of local home riders involved here. What a shame. Difficult way to start things off. Really struggling, in fact, at the start, which is a shame. This is Escadanto CSG. Rolls back round towards the plank. He's part of the young rider team for Spain again this year. He's been hugely successful in the youth setup for Spain coming through. I mean, you go back to 2019 when he was on the junior gold medal winning team for the Spanish riders. Great opportunity for him here. Big class tonight, but it's all about learning. Well, that was Diego Ramos Minero riding Escaranto CSG, the first of the riders out there for Spain here this evening, finishing there though. I don't think we'll see him through to that second round. At the moment, 2 gone round on a score of 4. This is Robert Whittaker next to go. Robert and Shatando. Robert, of course, one of the clears from yesterday's Nations Cup. That with Memento, his top ride today, though, riding this 13-year-old gelding. It's a ride that he came to earlier this year, back in the middle of the summer. Not tonight. Not tonight. Just not working under the lights. Robert, who, as I say, was one of the stars of yesterday. But there with Thomas Williams, Guy's brother, the Chaco Blue side, gelding Chitondo, deciding to retire. Back to the replays. So at the moment, realistically, 4 faults is the way it stands. Jan of Vargas with the fastest of those 72.31. Giorgio Bucci there and Hantano. Moving on to Niels Brunseels, one of the 9-year-olds here this evening. This has been impressive, though, this Belgian warm blood. It's called Origi van der Vrosberg. Jumped this horse recently in Rome. It's one that he's showing a lot of faith and trust in 160 class. already having a couple of fences down. Certainly showing that the track Santiago's given them here this evening is no give. Total is 12. A little bit of disappointment up there on the kiss and cry for that partnership then. Niels Brunsiel, 74.65. Starting to show actually that Yarna's time is 72.31. It's quite an impressive time, just to give us a little bit of an indication as well of the times they're going to need. Nicolas Pizarro goes next. The Mexican rider, the 11-year-old Atlantica de Soli Z, this mare by Atlantis van der Rosshova. Nicolas sitting inside the world's top 40. He's a man that's jumped on many a championship for Mexico over the years. Plank this time. Another rider struggling a little bit down that line. Gets a full house through the combination score, moves up, finishes the line off. He also ran it around 72 seconds, but that score of 20 sadly putting him out of play here tonight for the Mexican rider. As I say, he's a real championship rider. He's rode in the Olympics back in London in 2012. He's ridden in World Championships. We'll go back and have a little look at some of the replays here. Well, to the world number 5, to Martin Fuchs next up with Bastille. It is a 9-year-old that he's riding here this evening. By Balou de Rouet out of a Checo Blue mare. He had a very good win with this horse when he was out in Spruce Meadows, of course, winner of the big Grand Prix out there just recently as well. And he took this horse with him on that trip and was in the top 6 in another of the big classes as well. Coming out on top in that jump-off class one of those days. Different type of arena, different type of atmosphere. Of course, under the lights here this evening, different type of test, but it's certainly another exciting part of Martin's team going forward. Focused as he comes around to this big triple bar. Just losing their way a little bit in the middle. Best on a 4 at the moment is Jana Vraga's 72.31 her time. Martin and Bastille at least look to have kept up a nice forward pace on this round. Be a little bit over her time, but 74.81. In fact, he's a little down on Pier Giorgio Bucci's time. It's good enough for the moment to see him into the top 3. But it's all about getting into the top 9 as it stands. Top 25%. I say that in case anybody withdraws, but at the moment that looks to be 9 that'll go in to that second round of jumping here this evening in the City of Barcelona trophy. Another chance for Spain with Irma Roquero now with Ilustre del Macet. These two jumping well in Guillaume just recently. There's another 9-year-old, in fact, this stallion by Indret de Marcet. Early fence going down. Tricky little line. You've got to roll back turn to the left to jump the plank, then a roll back turn from the plank round. It really testing the rider's balance. It certainly breaks the rhythm. Just running on a little bit there. Getting on top of the pole with the water tray. Again, just getting forward through to the back part of that combination, sadly, there. It's a total of 12 for Rima and Ilustre del Macet, the partnership riding for Spain. Spain, though, with still more chances yet to come. Well, the next up, it's got to be the turn of Pedro Vinícius, Brazil. Next to go. Brazil, of course, is one of the 2 teams that have got themselves into Sunday's final here at the FEI Longines Nations Cup final, alongside the United States. That'll be not only battling it out to try and win the Nations Cup final, but whoever finishes higher of the 2 will also guarantee their ticket to Paris next year. This man knows exactly what it's like to jump at an Olympic Games. He's done so on most recent occasion being in Tokyo. This horse, Bachmann's Lord Petty Jr. Jumped that clear, double clear with back here in 2021 in the teams. By Bachmann's Lord Pezzi. Still clear at the moment. This horse has had a little bit of time off. It jumped at Hickstead at the Royal International Horse Show, the Nations Cup meeting. Then went to St. Lo and finished in the top 5 in the Grand Prix, but he's given it time off since and is looking fresh and looking well. And there's the first clear of the night here. It goes to the Brazilian star, Pedro Vinícius, and Bachmann's Lord Pesci Jr. showing exactly how it's done. And not only is he clear, but he's 72.60. So getting down into that 72-second bracket, he's done everything he can to make sure he's got a big part to play in the second round here this evening of this trophy for the City of Barcelona. Fabulous round. So that is how you do it. But that is a hugely experienced horse, and experience certainly paying off there. Giampiero Garofalo goes next with Gaspar. Another good chance for the Italians here this evening. He was part of the Italian team on home soil in Milan just a few weeks back at those European Championships. That on Max. Just a bit too quick. Oh, he's done well. He's like something's gone wrong there. He lost his stirrup. That's what's happened. He's shuffling around in the saddle trying to get it back. He lost his left stirrup going down that line. It's just then coming round into the combination. You can see it drifting away, struggling just to keep things as straight as he would need, and you're losing that control between leg and hand. You're losing the balance as well, and sadly losing out on any chance to return a little later. Giampiero and Gaspar have a 16 penalty score as they finish their first round here in this City of Barcelona trophy. Yeah, losing his stirrup certainly didn't make it easy. What's this man got up his sleeve this evening? Next chance for Germany. Hans-Dieter Dreyer has had another hugely competitive season. He's always competitive is the thing. He's such a fast rider. Here with Vestmal Descortis. The chance then for Germany here this evening. San Francais gelding by Balubet Derouet. Most recently had a fabulous win with this horse back in August when he won the Grand Prix of Münster in Germany. As I say, had a fair few wins this year. He also had a big win in Riesenbeck back at the end of July. Certainly plenty of horsepower and rider power mixing it together here this evening. But at the moment, just one clear. Drifting a little bit to the left. He's done well to straighten things up. Fabulously well ridden. Got away with a little nudge in the middle of the combination. Hans-Dieter Dreyer about to give us number 2. Yes, he does. And that, keeping up the fabulous form we've seen from that combination over the past months. And Vestmal Descortis, Germany, safely round, safely clear. Hans-Dieter Dreyer there, joining alongside Pedro Vinícius and Bachmann's Lord Pesci Jr. So he did well there. The horse was just drifting again a little bit, riding every stride alongside him all the way through to the finish, and he had a little rub in the middle of the combination, but nevertheless it's all worked out just perfectly for Hans. There's the times as well, as you can see, still at the moment Pedro with the faster of those clear round times. Talking of fast, Are there any? Are there many that are faster than this man? The world number 2 with the superb Donatella Dosh here next up. This horse with a fabulous record. He's recently having a very strong win in Rome. He's had so many great results this year. Of course, this is the horse that took him to that fabulous victory in the Grand Prix in Monaco back in the summertime. Also taking the Grand Prix win on this horse in Saint-Tropez as well. Was it ever in doubt? Not really. And look how quick he was as well. He's just so smooth. And he never, at any point, looked like he was rushing or pushing. And that's where he's such a magician. 70.16 on the clock. He's some 2 seconds faster than Pedro Vinis. At the moment, he puts himself in the box seat, have been able to go last as well in that second round. And, well, that's the sort of round you want to go last. It doesn't work every time, but when it does, it certainly pays off in style, and he does it so many times. He's very hard to bet against. So, Julien Epillard and Pedro Vinis and Tita Dreher all with the clears going through, but at the end of the day, we're looking for 9 to go through whatever happens. So we move on. Next up, Harry Charles. Harry jumping the clear in the anchor leg for the British team yesterday, as he's done on so many occasions, including when Britain won that Nations Cup on home soil at Hickstead back in July. Now riding the 10-year-old Sherlock, the stallion. This by Bisquet Balou van der Menespier. It's a ride that's been just building up as part of his team rather nicely this year. He's jumped in at some big shows when you think of the likes of Windsor, Paris, Brussels. Most recently he had it in Rome. He had a great top 3 result in Ascona with it, and at the moment he's following suit here. He's seen what the others have done, and he's done it himself as well. Jumps the clear to go into 4th, 73.63. Harry Charles, who is in absolutely electric form when it comes to jumping clears so far here in Barcelona. And he's done it now with Sherlock. 4 clears, goes into 4th. But it's about getting into the top 9. You don't want to end up with a slow clear and then end up finding out later that there are a good number of clears down the line, and then somehow you don't get through. But 73.63 at the moment is the slowest of them, but he'll at least be comforted by that 0 score. Julien Epillard still with the fastest. Now we move on. Gregory Wathelet, the 9-year-old Ebris de Pestel, for this man from Belgium that wins so many classes. He started the year off out in the USA, where he went over to the East Coast and he was winning so many classes over there. He's, of course, no stranger to jumping here. He jumped on the team for Belgium last year, but it's an early fence going down with the MRW falling. He's on that winning team here 12 months ago on Ironman. Of course, that booked Belgium's place to Paris next year. Total is 12. There for Gregory Waterley and Everest du Pastel, the ride by Narcago. Having a little look at some of the replays now. There's that fence going down early on. Then comes this man. It is the world number 1, world champion, Hendrik von Eckermann. Of course, most recently, but medal from the European Championships in Milan as well with the team. Now he rides here on Glamour Girl. Was seen recently on King Edward, had that big Grand Prix win in Rome. The Glamour Girl has certainly had some cracking results again this year with some very, very competitive rounds. Took a big win back in Le Boule. Also had a fabulous win in Riesenbeck. To be fair to this horse, she rarely goes to a show and doesn't win one class. That's sort of been the strike weight this year with Glamour Girl. 12 years of age now by VDL's Rocco Blue. He's in as well. 69.36 on the clock, and that means he's given himself the edge in one respect over Julien Epillard because he is that little bit faster. He's the first to go round under 70 seconds. And Glamour Girl, who has, as I say, this most remarkable strike rate this year, show after show, she finds her way to the top of the podium at least once. And Henrik, who will be challenging once again for a huge individual prize here this evening. So the world number 1 joins the mix with a clear and pretty much guarantees his place in that second round. Clear rounds beginning to mount up. Bila now, Bila Listir-Cordon, huge experience here for Spain with this 13-year-old mare. Another, in fact, via VDL's Rocco Blue, exactly the same as Glamour Girl. This is just a year older, and this is out of an Indoctro mare, whereas Glamour Girl was out of a Cornetto mare. Bila just having a little look round, getting set to start. Championship rider for the Spanish team, rode at those World Games in 2018. Rode at the Olympic Games in 2016. She's ridden at numerous World Championships and Nations Cup finals as well. Early fence, though, sadly, putting pay to her challenge. She was recently on the Nations Cup team with this horse in Warsaw in the EEF final. A long way round on the rollback turn. She gave herself a huge amount of room, but she's determined to try and keep this to the 4. She's really working through that combination And she does indeed keep it to the 4:74.73 on the clock. Slightly faster, in fact, than the likes of Pia Giorgio Bucci and Martin Fuchs's 4 penalty scores. So she's actually the second fastest on a 4. It'll put her into 7th place at the moment. Would be a little bit high risk considering we're not quite halfway through the first round. We're nearly halfway through the first round. There's one more to go before we sort of reach that halfway break. But at the moment, she's in. Between the clears, of which there are 5, and then the 4s, of which there are 4, we have our 9. As next up, it is Michael van der Vleuten for the Netherlands with Duis. Well, number 15 goes next. This 12-year-old by Toulon. And he'll be absolutely gutted. He's just had the first fence down. Can he turn that into a very fast 4? He had a good round with his horse in Rome a couple of weeks ago. Fastest rider on a 4, still Jaravagas, 72.31. That would get him up into 6th place if he can be faster than that. But he won't now. Unfortunately, the final part of the combination puts pay to his challenge this evening. Sadly there for Michael van der Vleuten for the Netherlands with Duis, which means he finishing down there in 10th at the moment, just outside the 9 that currently would go forward. Just going back, I mean, first fence going down, not much he could have done. And then it's a long old ride all the way round, and I thought he was going to keep it to the 4, and just there slightly dragging that left front foot hoof. So we're halfway through. We've got 5 clear rounds, of which Hendrik von Eckermann, the world number 1, sits at the top with Glamour Girl, the fastest of those clears, ahead of Julien Epilard and Donatella Doge. So that is the 1 and 2. And then here's the order now. Pedro Vinis, Bob Winslow Pethy Jr., Hans Dieter Wehr, and Westermaal de Cotis and Harry Charles and Sherlock. All on a clear. That gives you 5. Jan de Vlager's Clash Royale, the fastest on 4, sitting there in 6th place. And then Bila Godon, currently in 7th, ahead of Pier Giorgio Bucci and Martin Fuchs. It's filled with clears and 4s in terms of the 9 that would come back at the moment. And we wait to see how that evolves. There's still the chance the slow clear might not be good enough. It all depends on how the second half perform in this City of Barcelona trophy. There's a lot of jumping still to come our way here this evening, and a lot of big names in the lineup. So €97,700 on offer at the end of it all. City of Barcelona trophy here tonight. Second half to come very shortly. Well, here's the order as it stands. As you can see, we're looking in the City of Barcelona trophy this evening. In this opening round of jumping, we need to find the top 25% to go forward into that second round. That's where the money gets decided. It's a big track, 1 meter 55, but set by Santiago Valera. There's the warm-up arena out the back. And as you can see, fabulous facilities here in this fabulous city here in Spain. And well, the steward's getting ready to send the next one in. So at the moment, the best of the rounds has come from the world at number 1, Henrik von Eckermann, Glamour Girl, the clear in 69.36. Julien Epinard and Donatella Doge there in as well for France, and with a clear, Pedro Vinis, Bachmans Lopedi Jr., Hanti Dreher, Westermo de Cotis and Harry Charles and Sherlock have all done all they can. They've jumped it clear. Then you're into the fours after that with Yara Vargas, Cash Royale, Pilar Cordon, Flair, Pier Giorgio Bucci and Hantano and Martin Fuchs with Bastille. Clears and fours filling the gaps at the moment, but none of it's guaranteed. We wait to see how it all pans out. We move on to another of the French stars. Simon Deleste goes next. Dexter Fortunas Z, the 10-year-old gelding by Diarado. Getting set to start. Another in the world's top 10. World number 9. This 10-year-old, as I say, by Diarado, recently jumping in Rome. The European Championship ride. And a very good win in Volkenswaard as well at the end of August would have been. Got that naturally forward pace. Gets away with a little tap. Jumps nice and clean over the water tray that follows. Now rolling back round to this solid white poled upright, the Longines fence, then down to the combination, this final line. Still clear. Very interestingly, went all the way on the diagonal down there. And look how quick he is. They're getting fast, aren't they? 69.12 from Simon Deleste. That is the quickest. It's faster than Henrik von Eckermann. It moves him into first place. And you start to get that little bit of a feeling that, well, you know, Harry Charles is sat there with the slowest of the clears, and at the moment on 73.63. Is that going to be enough if the clear rounds keep coming to see Harry in? If this second half of the class can put the experience, they'll have all had the chance to watch. They'll know exactly what they're trying to do. We will see. There's the order at the moment of the top 5. Simon 69.21. Well, now the turn of Sienna Charles. This is Stardust. Young lady that has very much come to the fore as part of the British team over the course of this year. Jumping on the team out in Falsterbo. Went to Dublin, jumped very well there. Unfortunately, though, with Stardust having that fence down. Little short stride going in, but she reacted very quickly. In fact, she's with 8 penalties, knows that she can't get into that second round. So, in fact, I think Sienna's decided to retire. Lampard watching on there. Just saw Peter as well, Pete Charles' dad as well. Just keeping an eye on proceedings, but not wanting to put any more miles on the clock than is necessary. It just hasn't quite gone their way here this evening. So the top of the order won't change. Go back and just have a little look at some of the replays here, but then we'll move on to a partnership for Belgium. Cohen Variek riding them with Casanova de la Pomme. Another very experienced partnership. Another rider ranked inside the world's top 50. He was part of Belgium's team at the Europeans this year with this horse. Again, another member of the team that took the win here in the FEI, Longines FEI Nations Cup final in Barcelona 12 months ago. He certainly put in one of the starring performances over the course of that show 12 months previous. By Bamakademus, this 13-year-old stallion. This is their first show back together since the Europeans this year. And already with a fence down. A lovely line across there. He cut it on the angle. He's actually just moved things up a gear. He's just paying a little bit more attention to that clock. He wants to make sure that if he can be the fastest four and just maybe scrape into that second round a little bit later on, he gives himself a chance to do so. Again, relatively tight on the rollback turn. The fastest on four, 72.31. I'd say he's much quicker than that. In fact, he looks to be the quick. Oh no, the last has gone. 69.28. He was nearly faster than Simon Deleste, but it isn't relevant because he's had the final fence down. That pushes him onto a score of 8, and unfortunately drops him down and out of play. So Cohen Variek there and Casanova de la Pomme not able to get into that second round either. Looking quite lively. 2 in a row now for Spain. Alex Cardinalila now with Chuck 50. Another of the young talents in Spanish jumping. He's only 21 years of age. But he rode again this year at the Youth Europeans Young Riders down in Italy in Godeminore back in July. Most recently jumped this horse in Nyon in the 4-star a few weeks ago. You saw that fence go down early on. It's where that line just narrows down and it's a 155 upright. Again, he hasn't tried to waste any time on the turns. He's aware of the clock. He's not necessarily, again, doesn't quite reach the end on the 4. It's interesting how they're struggling in some respects to stay straight through that combination. Quite often we're seeing them sort of jumping left to right, just trying to give themselves that little bit more sort of room between the fences, perhaps. He finishes then on a total of 8. So partnership there for Spain here this evening of Alex Cardinaliera there and the 10-year-old Holstein gelding Chuck 50. Staying with the Spanish riders though, as the bell goes now for Mariano Martinez Bastida, riding a 9-year-old called Jup by Carrera VDL. Plenty of smiles at the moment. Hopefully they're smiling in about 2 minutes' time when this round wraps up. Of course, he was also part of Spain's trip to Milan. Had a couple of very good results with this horse in here back at the end of August. This round getting more and more tense for the Spanish fans around the edge of this arena at the moment because he's getting awfully close. Now, tough final line. Jumps again left to right, but he's done what he needs to at the moment. Can he get over the last and give Spain a clear here tonight? Yes, he can. 72.27 as well. He's put himself right in the middle of the pack in terms of those on time. He's gone into fourth, Mariano Martinez Bastida, and that really exciting 9-year-old Jup has given us another clear round here this evening. He's, as I say, gone into fourth, faster than Pedro Vinis, Hans Dieter Dreyer, and Harry Charles. So there he is. But there's the fastest time, 69.21. I mean, what an end to the second round as it currently is. Julien Epilard, Henrik von Eckermann, and Simon Deleste. I'm not sure what you're doing, but if you're enjoying this already, you need to make sure you do not go to bed early tonight, because when we get there, this is going to be absolutely brilliant. Now, Johannes Breer for Germany. Hot Easy, the 11-year-old mare. Recently out in Spruce Meadows with this horse. Part of the Nations Cup team there on this ride for Germany. Well, she wrote down that line as well as we've seen here this evening, full of confidence. It's got a lovely flow going as well. Brilliant round, another clear for Germany, 71.93 on the clock as well. It's faster than Hans Dieter Dreyer's clear. In fact, it will go into fourth place, I believe. It's a little faster than what we've just seen from Mariano. It does indeed go into fourth for Johannes Breer and Hot Easy. And we now have 8 clear rounds, and we are nowhere near done. And there's a huge amount of talent. It is starting to look like some of the clears might not quite get through. It's about qualifying to get in to round 2. Once you're in round 2, then you can go for the money. But now it's the turn of another of the big names from France, because this is Olivier Robert riding Iglesias DV, the 10-year-old stallion by Quasimodo. Quasimodo van der Modern Drief. It's a 10-year-old. Last jump this horse. Oh, now the plank, actually, I was surprised. I thought it might cause more trouble than it has this evening, but it certainly caused Olivier Robert a bit of a headache. He jumped this horse in Brussels. He jumped it on the Nations Cup team at the Longines FEI Jumping Nations Cup of Great Britain at Hickstead back in July. And this horse has had just a little bit of time off over the last month. Gets away of a real rub in the middle of the combination, but he is not quite going to be there in terms of the clock. He's outside of the 9, 74.70 to finish on the 4. And that is just outside the qualification for that second round of jumping from Olivier Robert there for France. Currently, to get yourself in, you've got to be better than Yara Vargas. She's holding on as the fastest 4 and the only 4 of those at the moment that would go through. And if she did, she would carry those 4 penalties into the second round. But going back to what I said a moment ago, there's a lot of jumping left. This is the turn of Ireland now, and Max Watchman with Quintini, 20-year-old star for Irish jumping that was part of Ireland's winning young rider team back in the summer when he jumped this horse in Gode Minore at those Young Rider European Championships, though he's become very much part of the senior setup as well in terms of Nations Cups. This by Quintenda, the Cassini mare. Had 2 really big results with this horse in Brussels. He jumped very well, as we remember seeing him finish in the top 3 in one of the classes in Dublin. And again, a fence on the rollback, a little bit like we saw with the plank. It hasn't gone down like we thought it could have done, but the combination has been tricky all evening. It's taken a huge amount of care to get down that final line without giving yourself any additional faults. And tonight, another 8 on top of the 4. Hello, everyone having a fabulous time here this evening, which is great to see. There's a lot of people around enjoying the sport tonight. There's a real buzz. But it won't be buzzing for Max Watchman, sadly, because he is out on a score of 12 after the opening round tonight in the City of Barcelona trophy. Again, just heading over to the left-hand side, which is what majority have done. They've sort of gone left and middle to right as they've gone down that final line. Now, there's the order at the moment. Now, because we're getting in to the final few, you can start to see the queues coming up. So Simon Deleste is the only combination, or only rider with his horse so far this evening that is guaranteed the place. Dexter Fontunis said. Now we move on to Gilles Thomas and Pushkas de Cavary. Of course, 12 months ago, part of Belgium's team here that took the top spot in the Nations Cup final last weekend. He was winning the Belgium National Championship at Zangerscheid tonight on a score of 4, making life exceptionally difficult for himself to try and get through. But this is also the youngest horse in the class. It is the only 8-year-old. It's by Seacoast Don't Touch Tijihiro. It's out of a For Pleasure map. And just keep going. It's all about experience now. Just giving this horse a really comfortable, confident ride. One little error with the 8-year-old this evening is enough to say you can't go into the next round, but certainly one that he can look forward to getting plenty more big results out of in the future. Pushkas de Claverie, they're the youngest of the horses here tonight, just the 8-year-old. We're much deeper into the season, later on in the year, and these 8-year-olds now just getting their chance in some big classes, just been asked to step up once or twice with a view to what they can do in the future. Henrik von Eckermann guaranteed his place now as well with Glamour Girl. Simon Deleste, Henrik von Eckermann. I mean, what a lineup at the end. I still cannot get over the way it's working itself out. Julien Epilard, Henrik von Eckermann, Simon Deleste. The last 3 to go in the second round. I take nothing away from all the others, but you've got 3 of the fastest horses and riders in the business at the moment lined up. Now it's the turn of a chance for Mexico, because this is Fernando Martinez Summer riding Lady van der Harterhoeve, 12-year-old mare by Casal. The championship rider over the years for Mexico. The last time he jumped this horse was in the Grand Prix in Centaur, the 3-star, back in the middle of September, where he won that class. So she comes here in fabulous form. And currently we still have 1-4 penalty score in the 9. If he jumps this last, there'll be no 4s in the line, because now we have another clear and his time is good. 71.65. He gets himself right up there in the middle of the pack as well. So Fernando Martinez Summer and Lady van der Harterhoeve for Mexico has all but assured himself of a place in the second round of jumping here this evening. So cracking round of jumping there. If he's gone up into 4th, I would say he is, well, you'd like to think he's there. Six more to go. And 3 with a guaranteed spot. But Fernando next to qualify, unless something peculiar happens. But then you have this man, Stigerat, of course, the current Longines ranked world number 3, and the man that has just recently won that European Championship title, the individual gold, adding on to his individual Olympic gold and team gold for the Europeans 2 years ago. Olympic gold back in London 2012. That was on Dynamics. Tonight riding Caracho. It's 11-year-old by Castellano. Had a fabulous win with this horse in the 5-star in Brussels. He took a big prize in that 1m50 jump-off class. He has the plank, and that makes 8. So for the moment, with the way it's all set itself up, it's Harry Charles that's on the bubble with Sherlock. The clear round, 73.63. The British rider at the moment is the one most at risk from anybody else that is yet to jump clear. Those polls going down, of course, lock in Fernando Martinez Summer, who we were watching a moment ago, jumping his clear with Lady. So he's about to be given his qualification ticket for that second round of jumping. Stigerat's teammate watching on, Martin Fuchs, just keeping a little bit of an eye on proceedings. But it's 71.60, total of 8 with Caracho there for Tigadat, leaving us now just 5 more left to jump, and 4 know that they're through. So the next that would qualify would be Ronespre. She sits in 5th place at the moment on Hot Easy. And as I say, the most at risk, or the rider at risk, sat on the bubble. On the edge of the qualification bracket, Harry Charles and Sherlock. Now, Colombia. The turn of Santiago Diaz Ortega. This 9-year-old is called Ambassador Z by Agonix. Rode in the World Championships in Herning last year on Chandro Boy. Last week was jumping in the World Young Horse Championships with his lineup of young horses, but he also now, because of course a pole means that you cannot get through, it's got to be a clear first and foremost, and there's got to be a quick clear as well. Shame for these two. They had a good win together in Bonaiden a couple of weeks ago as a warm-up to coming here. The total is 8. The time is good. Anything sub 70 seconds is a very fast time, but the Colombian rider there, Santiago Diaz Ortega and Ambassador Z, out in round 1. And Jorge Spre will qualify to go into the next round of the City of Barcelona trophy. She's in to that all-important second round. That's where the prizes get decided. She now qualifies alongside Fernando Martin Summer, Juliet Epilard, Henrik von Eckermann, and Simon Deleste, who still sits at the top of the pile here in round 1. They come back in reverse order of merit in the second round. Next to go, first of the 4, is Hannah Ackelblom. She rides for Sweden. This is Jodek, the 14-year-old gelding by Guidam Son. They had a really strong start to the year, jumping down in Spain. They've had a bit of time off from the international circuit with this horse, but coming back here in Barcelona. So with that fence going down, Spain have their rider into the second round. Mariana Martinez Bastida and Jup, whichever way you wish to say it, I'll go with Jup, is also now guaranteed a qualifying place. Really gets a little bit short coming out of that combination. Total is 12, 75, 1-7 on the clock. So that was for Sweden, Hannah Ackelblom and Jodek. And then there were 3, 1 for Argentina, 1 for the Netherlands, and 1 for Belgium. Spain, though, as I've mentioned, now qualified for that second round. So the other 3 clear rounds are the 3 at risk. Next in the qualifying places, depending on what happens with the next rider, would be Pedro Vinis. And it's he, Pedro Vinis, Hans-Dieter Dreyer and Harry Charles, at the moment, without any guarantees. Now the turn of Argentina's Martin De Pazzo, riding BM All Wave. Another rider who's been a big championship rider for Argentina over the years. He rode at the Olympic Games back in Sydney in 2000. He also rode in Athens and then again in Tokyo back in 2021. And on the 4, fence has gone over the water tray. Bad news for Argentina, but good news for Brazil. Pedro Vinícius is clear and is guaranteed a place in that second round. Combination not getting any easier. Sadly, 16 is the final score for Martin then and BM Wave. That partnership then for Argentina. So Pedro Vinícius can start to concentrate on that next round of jumping. And Dieter Dreher and Harry Charles are going to have to see how the next two get on. And I have to say, both will know they are seriously at risk with the two combinations that are going to come in just a moment. This is the first of them, penultimate partnership in the opening round, Jevreeling. And this is Griffin van der Heffink, the 11-year-old mare by Castigliano van der Hel, out of a Contact van der Heffink mare. Yeah, who currently sits as Longines ranked world number 24. Recently with Long John Silver on the championship team at those Europeans. Because he was on the silver medal winning team with Long John Silver at the World Championships last year. This is a really consistent horse. He's had some good results over the past few months in Zuiderwald, in Valkenswaard. He's kept up a nice forward pace. He's kept the turns quite tight. He's got to be careful through here. And sadly, it hasn't worked out. But first and last parts of the combination going down for Jevreeling. And as close as he got, it hasn't become a clear. With those poles falling, the man that benefits is Hans-Dieter Dreher. Germany getting another rider in to that next round as he qualifies then. So Hans-Dieter Dreher goes through with his clear round on Vestemel de Cotis. Harry Charles is still at the moment holding on. Somehow on Sherlock he has, because his time is, it's a good second slower than Hans-Dieter Dreher. It's been vulnerable for a little while now, but these riders, well, they just keep having fences. The last clear round coming back with Fernando Martinez Summer. Well, this is the last to go in the opening round. This will decide the final qualifying place for the second round. It'll either be Harry Charles and Sherlock, or it will be Vilvermeer with Crescendo MBZ, the 11-year-old gelding, next up by Clinton. Wilm, the world number 50, another part of Belgium's team recently at the Europeans with IQ Van Estierige. And Harry Charles qualifies for the second round, and full marks to the course designer. Santiago has got it absolutely perfectly judged here this evening, because he's just managed to get 9 clears in the opening round for the 9 places that were available in the second round. Had any gone through on faults, they would have carried their faults into the second round. Had we got more than 9 clears, somebody would have missed out. But nobody misses out. There are 9-0 scores and 9 going forward. Wraps up the opening round with a score of 12 at the end of it all there for Room Premier and Crescendo MBZ as the last out in this first round of jumping. So that indeed does confirm the order at the end of round 1. And now the focus we will look to is that second round of jumping. Once that pole had gone, going into the double, Harry Charles knew he was going to be coming back, and Harry will, of course, go first in that second round. The reverse order of merit system, Harry and Sherlock will be out to put the pressure on what is an exceptional field. Go nowhere, do nothing other than make sure you are tuning in. Here's the order, as I say, it'll be Simon Deleste that'll go last. Ahead of him, Henrik von Eckermann, Julien Epillard, and then Mexico with Fernando Martinez Summer. Jorge Speer, what a 2 for Germany. You, of course, have Spain in there as well with that round that came from Mariano Martinez Bastida. Pedro Vinícius, Hans-Dieter Dra, and Harry Charles all getting the qualification into the second round of the City of Barcelona trophy. Plenty of other talent has tried. It just hasn't gone their way here this evening. Certainly going to go someone's way in the second round of jumping here this evening. And of course, over 97,000 euros in the prize pot. 97.7 if I'm being accurate. So exciting times lie ahead. I mean, you could not have written a better script than what has turned out. As I say, the lineup starts with Harry Charles and Sherlock. Then it's Hans-Dieter Dre and Vestimante Cotis, Pedro Vinícius, Mariano Martinez Bastida, Jorge Speer, Fernando Martinez Summer. And then those final 3, it is mouth-watering. Julien Epillard, Henrik von Eckermann, and Simon Deleste. Will be back in 15 minutes with the second round.
Santiago Mercè, president del City of Barcelona, ha atorgat de forma unànime la quarta edició d'aquest guardó a Marco Fuster, qui lamentablement ens va deixar, però el seu llegat i passió perduraran sempre en la comunitat eqüestre.
Su dedicación incansable al mundo hípico, su liderazgo, su compromiso, su pasión y profesionalidad, su inquebrantable inagotable apoyo al Real Club de Polo de Barcelona, donde fue socio durante toda su vida, y su contribución al éxito continuo de este concurso de saltos internacional oficial de Barcelona como pilar fundamental en su equipo organizador, son testigos de su compromiso excepcional con nuestra causa. Y hoy, precisamente, queremos recordar con un vídeo la figura de Marco Fuster. Por favor, a la figura de Marco Fuster, clave en la ética española, que quiere rendir homenaje hoy con la entrega de este premio, este cuarto trofeo memorial Joaquín Calvo, que va a entregar la señora Magda Ferrer Dalmau, viuda de Joaquín Calvo, Jax, y va a entregar a doña Isabel Gargallo, viuda de Marco Fuster, a su hija Ainhoa, y también al padre de Marco Fuster, que está presente con nosotros, don Francisco Fuster. Procedemos a la entrega de ese trofeo memorial Joaquín Calvo. El recuerdo y el cariño del Real Club de Polo de Barcelona a la figura de un hombre clave, no solo en este concurso, no solo en este club, también una persona clave para la hípica española y para la hípica internacional, ya que fue el responsable de saltos de la Federación Ecuestre Internacional. Un hombre importantísimo al que perdimos recientemente y al que hoy queremos rendir homenaje con la entrega de este cuarto trofeo memorial Joaquín Calvo. Imagen para la fotografía, para el recuerdo, con doña Magda Ferrer Dalmau, la viuda de don Joaquín Calvo Jax, con doña Isabel Gargallo, viuda de Marco Fuster, con su hija Ainhoa y con su padre, Francisco Fuster. Hemos querido rendir homenaje hoy a Marco Fuster y antes del arranque de la segunda manga de este Gran Premio todavía vamos a tener otra entrega, otro reconocimiento a deportistas muy significativos que han triunfado a lo largo de este año 2023.
Soy responsable de las entrevistas, las breves conversaciones, los estudios a nivel mundial de los
durant més de 20 anys, tant en competició com en la formació. Un fort aplaudiment per tots els guardonats. Continuar d'aquí a breus minuts amb la segona màniga d'aquesta competició.
Bueno, pues en apenas unos instantes va a dar comienzo la segunda manga de este trofeo Ciudad de Barcelona. Recuerden, se han clasificado los 9 mejores, que han sido curiosamente los 9 ceros que ha tenido el recorrido previo. Orden inverso a la clasificación de la primera manga. Primero Juan Salas atrás, segundo Pedro Benis, cuarto Mariano Martínez Bastida, quinta Jordi Espreque, sexto Fernando Martínez Somer, séptimo Julien Bayar, octavo Henry Boneckerman y noveno Simón de Leste. Les cuento cómo va a ser el recorrido exclusivo de esta manga. Recuerden que la clasificación, los que van a salir al 8-0, se establecerá por la puntuación de esta segunda manga y el tiempo en caso de igualdad absoluta. Arrancaremos con el último obstáculo del recorrido anterior, el número 13, ese fondo del balón, que es un obstáculo nuevo en el
Welcome back. Here we go. Here's the start list for the second round. It's on as even with all the clears coming back. The order to go for the City of Barcelona trophy starts with Great Britain's Harry Charles, and then it is a super exciting lineup all the way through to the finish here this evening. Harry Charles will be the first out of the blocks with that wonderful ride, Sherlock, and then following Harry, it'll be the turn of Hansi Tedrow and Vestermal de Contis. Pedro Vinis for Brazil, Bockmann's Lord Petty Jr., Mario Martinez Bastida and Jop. Then you've got Germany second with Arne Speer and Hot Easy. Mexico's qualifier, Fernando Martinez, Summer and Lady. And then those final three, Julien Epillard, Donatella Doge, Henrik von Eckermann, Glamour Girl, and last out the blocks, Simon de Leste and Dexter Fortunas Z. Trying to pick a winner at this moment would be nearly impossible. It's hard not to look at those final three, as I've said in the opening round, when you see that lineup coming at the end and you know how fast they all are. It is sure to be electric. It is a real test as well in round two. It's a completely new direction around this fabulous arena here at this stunning facility, of course, the Real Club de Puebla de Barcelona. Here, this Longines FEI Nations Cup final meeting. It's the big individual prize on offer, though, tonight. €97,700 in the prize fund. There's the young man that'll be first to go here this evening. It is Harry Charles. Father Peter just there in the blue t-shirt, just asking if we're ready to go. Of course, Peter, part of the British team that won that gold medal in London 2012 of those home Olympic Games. Harry, though, first out the blocks this evening, the world number 17, just 24 years of age. He knows, look at that little warm-up, crack of the neck, whichever way, just stretching things off. Pathfinder, he was perhaps Well, he jumped the clear. Only 9 of them did. There were only 9 qualifying places. He had to wait to the end to find out because he wasn't that quick in the first round. Doesn't mean he can't light it up now in this second round. But you'll know the level of competition that's coming after him. Leave the fences up, wait and see. Quite how he plays it is anybody's guess at this moment in time. But a lot of money on offer here this evening. He's certainly going to want to try and play his hand in to the top of the order if he can. Part of Great Britain's team yesterday, one of the 3 British riders alongside Robert Whittaker and Tim Gredley. Of course, their 4th team member is Lily Atwood, but it was Harry, Robert and Tim that delivered the clears that has given Great Britain that 1 fence advantage going into Sunday's final. But tonight it is individual honours on offer, and here we go. We're all ready, so hold tight. This is going to get quick. 9 of the best ready to go against the clock in the second round of jumping here for this City of Barcelona trophy. Just waiting for that bell. Just having a good look round. He'll have decided exactly what he wants to do. In fact, there is a little bit of an issue going on or something. There's a bit Arena Party just running around with something. Harry just keeping a watchful eye. He'll have been in this situation before where things just get held, just keep the horse moving. And there we have it. There's the bell. They begin, in fact, over what was the last fence in the original opening round, and they come back to what was the triple bar. It's now a big parallel, and then head on down that line to the Porsche fence. There's the opening 3 fences. Harry Charles and Sherlock go first. City of Barcelona trophy is up for grabs. Big wide stretch. And his left-handed back all the way up to the top edge of this arena to the double. 22 as he lands out there. Now again, another long run on there over the water tray. Back to what was the first. Down to 2 from the opening round. Penultimate fence in this one. Turn right, come to the last, the upright. Middle of what was the combination. Last fence in this second round of jumping. And he starts with a clear. 46.71 is the time on the clock for Harry Charles and Sherlock as they set the standard. I do not doubt we'll perhaps see faster than that, but Harry has put enough pressure on them all now. And he'll certainly benefit if anybody makes a mistake. Landed out of the double in 22 seconds. It'll just give us a bit of a clue halfway round as to how the others are doing. So Hans-Dieter Dreyer, 1 or 2 for Germany in this second round. Germany and France getting 2 riders into the 9. Vestamal des Cotis. Brilliant win in Munster. Very quick out of the blocks. Here we go. Harry landed out of the double in 22. Oh no, it's gone. He's faster, 20 seconds, but the fence is down. Just trailing a little bit behind on the angle. He's keeping up the pace. He doesn't want to back off. He wants to be the fastest on 4. 42.69 is where he stops the clock. So considerably faster than what we saw from Harry Charles, 46.71. But with a fence going down. He sits in second. Hans-Dieter Dreyer there, and Westermelder Cotis finishing on the fourth. 46.71 was Harry's time. 42.69 was Hans's time. One fence sits between them, though. So Great Britain still lead. 2 gone, 7 to go. Brazil's turn next. It's Pedro Vinícius and this super ride, this super stallion of his, Bachmann's Lord Petty Jr. You wouldn't ever rule this man out of anything. And this is a super, super horse. Can he deliver a clear that bit quicker than what we've got as the fastest time at the moment? Just make those that are still to come think even harder. Some really long runs between the fences, like there from 1 to 2. It'll be again after this upright. All the way round to the double. Gets the inside turn. Gave it a knock. He landed there at about 20-21. He's certainly faster. 3 to jump. 2 to jump. $46.71 the time to beat. Much quicker. Over the last, Brazil will lead 44.01. At least 2.5 seconds and slightly more as well. But it is Pedro Vinícius that leads the way now. That time, 44.01, was quick. The competition moves up a gear. And that is Bachmann's Lord Petty Jr. putting in a really experienced round, but right from the off, Pedro knew what he needed to do, and he was flying along. I think he got a little bit lucky in the double. He gave the first part of the double a real rub, but next up, it is the chance for Spain. Mariano Martinez Bastida and Jupp, the 9-year-old. The youngest horse in this second round, the only 9-year-old to qualify. Again, gets the inside turn. Now 20/21 seconds is the split. He's a long way down on that. Huge difference in the levels of experience between a horse like this and a horse like Lord Petty Jr. that leads. Playing a similar game to what Harry Charles did here. Was trying to leave the fences up, but unfortunately he hasn't. And that's a shame. He's going to be slower than Hans-Dieter Dreyer. Oh, and he's at the last. Sad to say, the score is 8. At least he got into this second round, but Mariano Martinez Bastida there, 48.50 was his final time. So the slowest of those that we've seen. He was a couple of seconds down on Harry Charles, who sits still in second place. Harry now as the first to go. Yes, Pedro Vinícius leads, but he's seen 2 riders come in and have fences down, and he's staying ahead. Now it's Germany's second chance. And the only lady through to this second round. This is Hannes Freire riding Hot Easy. She had such a beautiful round in the first round. Wonderful relationship that these two have. So the clock resets, we go again. Time to beat, 44.01 with a clear. But there is no clear. Different fences in this second round causing different problems for different horses, and that means Pedro Vinis, Harry Charles remain 1 and 2. The fastest for Hans-Dieter Dreher's time, 42.69. Still the fastest time we've seen from any of the riders from Hans. He's 2.5 faster than the current leading time. Well, 47.61. The final time is still there on that score of 4 as well. Ferran Esprey goes in to 4th place, slots in behind Hans-Dieter Dreher and ahead of Mariano Martinez Bastida. 4 more. 4 more left to go. 5 gone in tonight's City of Barcelona trophy. 97,700 euros worth of prize money, and now it's Mexico's chance. Lady van der Hachehove and Fernando Martinez Summer. Four-year-old Mexican rider. The 12-year-old mare by Casal. Not going to be too far away at the split. He's about a second down on the leading time. Second place very much within his sights here. Coming towards home. Leading time 44.01. Where's he going to find himself, Fernando? Lady van der Hachehove. Oh no! Final fence. 45.92. He was going into second. And that fence costs him 2 places. He drops into 4th. And still Pedro Vinis, Harry Charles, the only 2 clears at the moment. Try as they might, but it hasn't changed the order. Well, that means we move into the final 3 with still Pedro Vinis leading the way, 44.01, but this is box office stuff now. Julien Epillard de Donatello Doge goes next. Then it's going to be Hendrik von Eckermann and Glamour Girl, Simon Deleste and Dexter Fontunes Z. We go world number 2, world number 1, world number 9. This a 2-time 5-star Grand Prix winning combination already this year. One of the fastest in world jumping. 44.01 is there to be beaten, and he is off. Oh, how did he get away with it? Well, luck has to be on your side. And tonight, at the moment, it is. He lands there in 19/20. He's at least a second faster. He takes one out on the turn as well. He is flying along. Julien Epillard is doing what he does best. He is foot to the floor to the last. He's jumped it clear. 40.92. The world number 2 is into the lead. A sensational round from Donatello Doge, looking absolutely brilliant. And it is the Frenchman that goes into first place. The smile comes out. He had a huge slice of luck at the third. He gave it an almighty knock and it stayed up. We've seen lighter touches than that have fences down. Here's the replay. caught it behind, and how did that not fall? It's the way it works sometimes. But that puts the world number 2 to the top of the board, 40.92. But then comes the world number 1 in world jumping, the world champion, Longines World Cup winner. What has he not done? He wears that Longines white armband in recognition as the world's number 1 rider on this quite spectacular mare that has had another brilliant year. Glamour Girl, the 12-year-old. It is rare for her to go to a show and not win one. That is a really tough challenge that Juliana has set up for Henrik von Eckermann. Glamour Girl. She's got brilliant acceleration. So smooth. 19 seconds out of the double is roughly where he wants to be. 19/20. He's a fraction away. He needs to see if he can keep the pace up on this turn. Julien taking one out there. Now Henrik beginning to just up the ante. He's pushing even harder. He's going for the turn to home. 40.92. The world number 1 jumps the last. He'll go into second. A little bit of disappointment showed in the face. He was doing all he could, but it shows you just how fast Julien Epinard has gone here. Well, has Julien put it out of reach? Henrik von Eckermann, Glamour Girl, certainly couldn't reach that far. Donatella Dosch leads, Glamour Girl goes second, Bachmann's Lord Pethy in third, Sherlock in fourth. Those are the horses that take the top of the line at the moment. 4 clears, but we are not quite done yet, because here is the last to go. And he is certainly no slouch when it comes to going against the clock. His compatriot, friend, teammate sits at the top of the leaderboard. Now it's the turn of our last out. Simon Delestre, Dexter Fortuna said, has got to go clear quicker than 40.92 to win the City of Barcelona trophy. Otherwise, it's staying in the hands of Julien Epinard. Beautifully ridden the way he set the turn up there. Game on. What can he do here? He's going to make it tight. It's going to be very tight at the end. Has Julien Epinard done it, or will Simon Delestre be able to do anything about it? It is awfully close at the finish, 41.93. France are gone into 1 and 2, first and second here, as Simon Delestre takes second place on Dexter Fortuna said. But the win tonight in this City of Barcelona trophy goes to the world number 2, to Julien Epinard and the great Donatella Dosch, the brilliant partnership that have been having the most outstanding year. The last 12 months has been quite phenomenal, and try as he might, Simon Delestre, and boy did he try, he got himself to within a second of that time, and he beat the world number 1 into third by around about half a second, Henrik von Eckermann and Glamour Girl. Wow, what a jump off that was, and what a round. I'm still Julien Epinard, if he gets to ever see the replay of how he clouted that third fence, he'll realise just how lucky he was here tonight. But brilliant try from Simon at the end. But you have to say, Congratulations, Julian Epillard and Donatella Doge, who win the City of Barcelona trophy here at this Longines FEI Jumping Nations Cup meeting. Of course, the team jumping returns tomorrow and through for the final on Sunday. Simon Deleste, second. Henrik von Eckermann, full marks to Pedro Vinícius to take fourth for Brazil. And Harry Charles ends up in fifth there on Sherlock, ahead of Hans-Dieter Dreyer, who was the fastest of those riders on four. What a brilliant competition we've been able to enjoy here this evening at the Real Club de Polo de Barcelona. I hope you've enjoyed it as much as I have. I'll leave you with the presentations. That'll be coming up in a few moments' time as our top three come out and pick up the prizes. And don't forget to tune on in as well. We got the Challenge Cup here tomorrow, and then it's finals day on Sunday. The Nations Cup final is up for grabs here in 2023. Do not miss it. It's looking awfully close. Great sport tonight. Thank you for being with me, Gareth Jenkins. I have enjoyed it. Well done, Julien Epillard. Until the next time, thank you, and we'll catch up soon.
un